Hello guys and welcome back to TNT Madness. Today is a very special day that's taken me a while to get to, but we got there in the end. Thanks everyone for 20,000 subscribers. We are getting into the realm of big numbers that become really hard to imagine. Today we are looking at a very big cannon that I've been trying to make for a very long time, and that is a 230 one-shot. However, since I am obsessed with compacting things, to make this special I managed to fit it all in one chunk and with quite a bit of room to spare. So if you wanted to put all your building supplies in one corner in a chest, then you can. So for those who don't know what a one-shot cannon is, it is a cannon that slab busts then sand stacks on the wall, and then hybrids or scatters at the top of the sand blowing through the wall or base in less than half a second. One-shots are arguably one of the best cannons in Minecraft right now, and this is definitely one you'll want to add to your arsenal. The main benefit of having the cannon being able to fit in one chunk is it doesn't force you to build in some awkward area. All you need to do is claim one piece of land and it won't matter who is claimed around you, and you won't have to downsize to a smaller, less effective cannon. This is going to be a longer video, so if you want to skip to any point in the video, then on screen now and in the description, there will be buttons where you can skip to different sections of the video. This being firing the cannon, the redstone or explanation of the cannon, and finally the tutorial or how to build it. If you don't care about the tutorial but still want to play around with the cannon, then there will also be a schematic and a world download in the description below the like button. If you're still here, then just sit back and enjoy the video. Finally, before we get on to firing, I tried to make this one of the best 230s possible. However, in an attempt to bring down the resources by using redstone torches instead of repeaters in both the propellant and the hammer, I managed to break it. So for everyone who wants to have a look at that or attempt to fix it, there will also be a link in the description below to a schematic and a world download for that. Aside from that, I would say I have made it almost as good as it possibly can get. So I will definitely be using it in the future for bigger raids as my main cannon. Anyway, now on to firing this beast, and again, thank you all for 20,000 subscribers. So now on to firing our 230. What we have here is our cannon, and about 8 chunks away we have our wall that goes from sky limit to bedrock way down here. And we'll be firing at around this height here, which is 230 blocks above the actual from bedrock. So if we go here, we can see that the top of the barrel here is at 227. You can fire this higher, but it's just this is where I originally built it from. So now without further ado, let's just go ahead and fire it. So if we press the button, we can see all the sand gets loaded in here, all of the TNT gets loaded in the hammer. It's going to fire and then shoot way out here and destroy this wall. As you can see, a lot happened in a short period of time there, but essentially what happened is down there were a few slabs. It went ahead and destroyed them. Then after that, what it did is it stacked 230 sand, so it got up to this height here, which is just ever so slightly above where the top of that barrel is, and then of course it hybrided and scattered. But because of the way our hybrid is, which we'll go over in the redstone section later on, it allowed us to essentially nuke it, sort of. So it destroyed a rather large chunk of blocks. So if we went ahead and fire it next time, it would just go and destroy this wall, and it'd do it pretty much the same for all of these walls. So one thing to note about this cannon is that it can fire up to 10 chunks on a 3 tick delay. So what I mean by 3 ticks is how long it is from when this propellant fires to when the hammer fires. So 3 ticks will allow it to fire about 8 chunks, or that's just over 100 blocks, so it can fire up to around 10 chunks, and then if you extend it to 4 ticks, then it can fire up to around 20 chunks. So you should have no problem with this getting a ton of range on it, and therefore they'll allow you to destroy some pretty big bases and get through some pretty big walls. So the other benefit of this is because it is a 230, you can actually turn it into a nuker. And if you really wanted to, you could also make it a reverse cannon, which would be a little bit harder and a bit too complex for this video. So for the purpose of this video, we are not going to be doing that. So if we go ahead and fire it again, we can take a closer look at just what goes on. So first thing that happens is, of course, the sand goes down there. All of the TNT fires along here. It gets pushed into this giant batch here, then gets pushed along, and just because I'm lagging, it then goes across here and, as you can see, destroys the wall. It actually destroyed it pretty much identically except for this one block here. So It's a very, very consistent TNT cannon that will get you essentially through any wall, and you can change this around to get, of course, regen bust and do a bunch more. But just for the basic purposes of a 231 shot, it can do its job extremely well and allow you to get to those high points of bases really easily. So anyway, enough of me rambling about firing this thing. Let's actually have a look at the redstone. So now on to the redstone. So this is going to be just for the people who want to understand how this cannon works, and I'm going to be briefly explaining it. This is a very complex cannon, so it would probably take me a couple hours to actually explain every single piece in depth. So for the sake of the video, I'm just going to be explaining everything briefly, and if you don't care about this or know about how a general 231 shot works, then I would just go ahead and skip to the tutorial. So if that out of the way, the first thing I want to explain is the tunneling effect, because that is essentially what one-shots are based off of, and even pretty much a lot of cannons that exist these days. So the thing that I'm going to be explaining is what is called micro ticks. They were originally just called delayed ticks, but now people just keep calling them micro ticks. So what micro ticks are essentially is when you have something like this. So you could have two lines of repeaters. You could have one that's set to 4 ticks and one that is set to this. Essentially what is going to happen is that this one is slightly longer than this actual delay here. So what it means is when you're firing TNT, is it means that this one will go off before this one. However, that we don't use this in this cannon, we use a slightly different version. What we use in R1 is we use the comparator, because what that means is a comparator actually takes less time to activate than what a actual redstone repeater does. So what this allows you to do is allows you to actually have sand blow up before the sand stacks, which is how our actual slab bust mechanic works here. So how we have it work is we have two of them set to 3 ticks delay, but as soon as they activate, we have a comparator that will activate for the actual slab bust. So if we go over here and see, this is our main propellant. If we go along here, we can see we have a 3 tick delay over here, and this same one somewhere over here. We've got a 3 tick delay here that goes in here. But when we take it off from the bottom here, instead of going into, it goes into a 3 tick delay, but then it goes into a comparator, and these dispensers here are what is for our slab bust, which is what allows us to actually slab bust, of course. So that is a very basic rundown of the tunneling effect, and there's not too much more about it, but essentially just means that a comparator takes less time to activate than a full 1 tick repeater. So for pretty much most cannons these days, there are 3 main parts of the actual cannon, and that being the propellant, which is this, so it's our compression system, the sand compression, which is this system over here, and then the hammer, which is this giant stack of dispensers over here. So the first thing we are going to be looking at, of course, is our propellant, but to explain all this, there's a lot of wiring going down here that will connect everything up. So what happens is we activate this button, and we have a delay of 16 ticks, but that's just so all of the sand can fall down into this bay where all these cobwebs are, which I'll go over shortly, so they can all get in there before this thing fires. So what happens first is we have our little compression system here. TNT fires into this, and then 2 ticks after that, all of these dispensers go off up here. But because this is a cannon that we want to be as accurate as possible, we have got a liner. And for most ones that I use a piston liner, but I'm starting to swap over to TNT aligner. So if we go around the back here, if I can come up here, we can see we have our 1 tick delay that goes in here, and then another 1 tick delay that goes into all the other dispensers. But if we come down here, we can see we have just a piece of redstone that goes into this dispenser, which goes into our TNT aligner, which means 1 tick before anything happens, or before these actually blow up, that one will blow up. So essentially what happens is this compression pushes all the TNT that is in here to this very edge here, and then because TNT is 0.98 blocks wide, this will activate 1 tick after that, push it along here, and then all of this TNT will explode, which will push all your TNT and sand that's in the barrel. So that's the main compression system. It's probably the most simplest part of the cannon, and you'll see that you have some sort of compression system like this in just about every cannon, except this one is just a lot bigger than most. So the next part, what we have is we have our sand compression over here, and this is different to a normal sand compression that I would normally show, because it has to stack 230 sand instead of something like, let's say, 80. It may not be reusable cobwebs, which I will probably do a cannon on in the future, but it is still somewhat complex. So to fit 230 sand in this small area, instead of having one that is 10 long, which we can't do because we're fitting in one chunk, we use a double piston extender. So if you don't know what they aren't actually that complex. So what happens is, if we go from the button, we send a line that goes up these slabs and goes into this comparator, which is what is called a pulse extender. So when we press the button, this will essentially just extend the redstone signal so it activates for a lot longer than 10 ticks to something like 3 seconds or 60 ticks. So what happens after that is the redstone goes over here and turns this redstone torch off, which of course turns off both of these pistons. So what happens is this back one retracts and then this front one retracts, but just because of the way there is a bug at the moment, is because this is bud powered, is that they both go back at the same time, which is really weird, but it works really well for us because this is a sticky piston and this is a regular piston. And what happens when we extend it, so when this goes back on, is these back ones activate, and then one tick after that these front ones activate, and that is because they are of course being bud powered diagonally by this redstone block here. And we essentially have the same thing on the same system on the bottom here, except I'll be going over how this pushes it out later. So that is how this works. So if we go ahead and press the button just for a quick demonstration, we can see that all the sand falls into this main area here and then gets pushed by these cobwebs, if I didn't lag so much. As we can see, it all blows up, and of course that will go ahead and destroy another layer of wall. But what you have there is you have cobwebs, and these pistons will push it across into this main barrel. So what happens after this retracts is it sits in that little cobweb pile, and what it allows us to do is then wait for it till we need to push it out. So what happens is we have this extra delay here which goes for a total of 14 ticks, and then goes up to this piston here, which is our little compression system for our sand compression. So this will activate a bunch of TNT that will all be compressed into this one block here, and then after that it goes into this little system here, which is somewhat of a complex system, but essentially what it does is it just goes into a pulse extender and then into a redstone clock, which will just activate for a second. It just makes it so it's a lot longer, but essentially all you need to know for this is allows it so that this pushes it out for long enough so that the sand doesn't get pushed inwards. So it essentially makes it a complete barrel. That is an extremely horrible way of explaining it, but it just means it waits till long enough so that way the pistons push all the TNT, all the sand out into this main barrel here, and then one tick after this is pushed out here, it will all get pushed along here out into this main barrel. So it'll be floating in here, and then of course one tick after that all of this TNT here will blow, which will push it all the way out here. So a few things to note is that in case you didn't put cobwebs here, there are slabs here just so the sand breaks, and in case you didn't place it here, there are slabs here in case this doesn't fire off or you forgot to put TNT in it or something. And there's a repeater here which sends a signal to go up here, which I'll be explaining soon, and that of course does the same thing for this, just makes it so all the sand breaks. So for those who didn't know, what we have here is our main bit that allows us to have our staircase slabs that of course allow us to activate every dispenser, but because redstone can only go 15 blocks, we have an extra bit here that just staircases up and activates slightly higher, so it activates the rest of it. So what happens next is we activate our main hammer bit. So how we do that is we want it to activate 3 ticks after our main propellant, so that way when the hammer activates it's way over there. So how we do this is extremely simple. We just take a line of redstone and add 3 ticks so that way it can activate all of these. So for this we just bring it from this side all the way along here. Of course it's actually 15. The signal strength for the redstone is 1 here, so it's 15 from this one along here, so we can only have this, we have to have a block here so it can actually take a signal up here that will allow us to activate the rest of these. And on the other side it's even simpler because we are 2 blocks away, so we just place redstone here and another repeater, and then it activates all of these. So what happens while all of this is happening is we have another signal that comes up from here, which is from when all of this turns off. It will then, after these retract, it will activate this redstone torch, which will go ahead and add some extra delay that goes up here, and then we'll activate this double compression system. So if you don't know how double compression works, essentially is where you have TNT that fires off here, and then one tick after that TNT will fire here. So when it does compress, you have TNT that fires here and pushes all the TNT along here ever so slightly, but it pushes this middle one a lot, and then that will go about here-ish, and then it will push all the rest of the TNT down here. This design actually works really consistently for here because it doesn't have to push it that far, but it still managed to push all of the TNT a total of 8 blocks instead of the normal one where it would only be 6, which is very nice for us because it doesn't mean we have any other problems. And of course, this is just struggling to fit in here because the very edge is over here. So what we have next is this bottom dispenser part here, which is very interesting. So if we come back to this, what looks like a somewhat complex circuit here, is there's a lot going on here. So what we have here is this activates our slab bust, and then we have one set of repeaters that go along here, and another one that goes along here. And what this allows us to do is allows us to have a very long pulse. So it allows us to go for about 1.5 seconds, so it allows us to have quite a long pulse. And if you don't know what this is just a comparator clock. And this, of course, is just so we get that extra length that we need to activate all of these. So this comparator clock will allow us to activate these dispensers 15 times, and there are 10 of them, so that's 150 TNT. And this is what is used for our hybrid or scatter TNT, which allows us to almost nuke it, which is absolutely wonderful and works extremely well for us. So all this does is it activates and it pulsates into this area here, and then it activates all of these dispensers one by one after another, and it works extremely well. So that's most of that. So the final bit I need to explain is how we get our hybrid sand TNT. So because we are very limited on space, I couldn't actually fit a piece of sand that would go like directly over here. So what we have is a conveyor belt system. So if we come down here, we have this piston here which pushes it last, but it will get pushed by this piston over here, which will push it on top of this piston, which will then push it down by a block, and then that will get pushed into this area, and then this piston will push it. So all of this happens, however, after all the TNT is pushed down. Because there is a glass block here, it doesn't land. The only thing that stays where this piston is actually the red sand. So all the TNT falls down into here, and then we have this piston which pushes it out, and then 4 ticks after that one does, just so the sand doesn't actually completely hit the bottom, it pushes that out as well, so it is like half a block above, or technically inside the TNT, so that way the hammer has nowhere to push it, so it just stays in that single spot until, of course, it hybrids. So what that allows us to do is, of course, hybrid after the top. So of course, again, if we just come back along here, essentially what happens is we have one that just activates the same time as here, which pushes the sand over here, and then it waits about 10 or 20 ticks, and the way we get our signal is we bring a line of redstone that comes all the way along here, over here, and through this block, and we just have a block there. I just have a block there just so it looks a bit cleaner. It goes along there, and then we have a line of redstone that goes up along here. Then this one will retract, and so will this one, and then it will extend, and of course 4 ticks after that this one will extend. So it's a very nice conveyor belt system, and the red sand is just sitting in here in this space. It's a very compact thing, so there's not really any space, much space left over, except in this tiny area here, and of course this tiny area here. So that is the majority of the cannon. There is quite a lot actually going on, but of course if you want to have a look at it or use it, then of course look in the description, there'll be a world download and a schematic. So now on to the tutorial. One thing to mention before you actually build this is that if you're building this in a single player world, then this cannon will only work in 1.7 or of course below, but no one uses something that's not 1.7. However, if you're playing on a faction server, then this cannon will work on all of them from 1.8 to 1.10 and 1.7, unless for some reason they don't have their TNT mechanics fixed, which pretty much every faction server does, especially the big ones, so I wouldn't worry about that. Anyway, what you're going to need is a 16 by 16 area, and this may look like a bunch of garble here, but what this gold bit represents is the main barrel of the cannon, so where all the TNT and sand is going to be in, and then this diamond slab bit is where your actual sand compression is. So as you can see, we actually go from end to end, so we have dispensers at this corner and at this corner, so we use pretty much every space on here. However, what this glass represents are just spaces where there are no blocks at all from top to bottom, and the white glass bit represents a space where there is no blocks at ground level. And I wouldn't really worry about these other pieces of glass unless you need some extra space, but what I'd recommend is, if you are building your cannon, is to stand at this area here and place all your chests and crafting tables all along the edge here, full of your TNT and building supplies, because your actual button is going to be sitting here, and you'll have all the space here to actually place down your stuff if you are building a platform in one chunk. But the first thing I'd recommend you do is, of course, make a 16 by 16 platform. So anyway, now on to building this. So the first thing you're going to need is, of course, some building blocks, some slabs, 501 dispensers. It uses a lot, so make sure you have enough money and TNT. You're going to need a couple of stacks of redstone, a couple of stacks of repeaters, a stack of torches, some comparators, 13 pistons, 10 sticky pistons, and a button, doesn't matter which one you use, a water bucket, and some ladders. And then once you actually fire this and reload it, you're going to need some TNT, sand, and some cobwebs. However, when you are doing your actual hybrid sand and sand stacker sand, I'd recommend you just have red sand and normal sand, just so you can differentiate between the two. So now on to building this. The first thing you're going to be doing is building just the actual scaffolding and stuff for the actual sand compression. So the first thing we are going to be doing is placing down 5 dispensers on the very edge here, so you want to lay it out so it'll be 7 blocks from the very corner here. Place dispensers there, then go ahead and place another one that is 5 high here. Then go ahead and place some blocks on the edge of both of these dispensers, and then go ahead and place ladders on each side. This is just so once you have actually built this a bit more, you can actually weave in here, so that way you can easily go ahead and grab your cobwebs, so that way when you reload it, it'll be easy to grab your cobwebs. So next thing you want to do is go ahead and go up by 1 block here, so make a 2 by 5 area, and then go ahead and place slabs on top of all of these. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and go up 1 block and place some scaffolding behind this, because this is where we are going to be placing our pistons. So place a 1 by 5 area of just blocks behind it like so. Go ahead and place some sticky pistons there, and go ahead and place pistons in front of it, then like so. This is what we're going to be using to be pushing our actual cobwebs above that. So what you want to do now is go and place some blocks along here, just so it's easy when we place down our redstone, and then go up by another block and go ahead and make the same sort of scaffolding system as we are going to be building the same thing above, but this time this is what's going to be holding our sand up. So go ahead and place down your sticky pistons and pistons like so, and then your blocks on top as well, and then you can go ahead and just fill up the corners like so, so nothing can escape, and on the side as well, and then you have built yourself your main sand compression, and you only need to go to this height. So it should look something like this. So what I'd recommend to do next, if you want to look kinda cool, is make a 2 by 5 area along here, and then make a frame that goes all the way over to the ladder, so all the way over here, and then go up, and of course place blocks down along here, and then fill all of this in with glass. So that way you have a giant panel, so that way when you're building this or you are firing it, whether you're doing it for a video or not, you can show off your friends or just make it look slightly cooler for when you go ahead and tell someone that you've raided them. So now we're going to be building the compression bit. So what you want to do is go to the very back of your thing, and you want to go 4 blocks from the back right corner of your platform, and then place down dispensers in a semicircular ring like so. Then place 2 blocks here with ladders on top like so, and then place water along here. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and place dispensers on each side, which are 4 wide. However, you're going to be placing these a total of 24 blocks high, which I'm going to finish off in a second. Then you want to go ahead and place a block here and here, null in here, place ladders here and here, go down to this bit here, destroy that block, and make sure you place an upside down dispenser, which is where we're going to be placing our which is going to be our TNT aligner. So just so we can take a redstone down here later, you can go ahead and cover up this like so, and then you can place a block around here as well. And then once you've done this, you can go ahead and cover up this main area like so with glass, or just a regular block. So after you've done this, what you want to do, like I said, is fill up each side with glass and then place water on the top like so. And what I've done down here is just extended the ladders up by 2 and just made a ring around here. So the next thing you want to do is go ahead and place some scaffolding here and place a piston facing inwards this way. Then go up 3 blocks and place a dispenser facing inwards and then another one facing downwards. This is what's going to be used for your actual slab bus, so then go ahead and just fill in the gaps around it, and we don't have to worry about this bit because this is what's going to be pushed all the way through here. So what we can do, go ahead and do now is this side here, we can turn it into a see-through panel so you can actually see inside the cannon. So what you want to do is make it go all the way from there to the end, then go up 6 blocks and then come around and go all the way back here as well, because we're going to be placing redstone on top of here later on. So then you can go ahead and just fill in this 4 high area with glass, and that way it will just make it look slightly cooler than it would otherwise, rather than just a blank panel. So after that, it should look something like this. So now once we're done with that, we can go ahead and cover up this top bit here, except you want to leave this 1 block here, 4th from this edge here, just free, so that way later on we can actually build the hammer on it. That means we can also go ahead and, if you really want to, place a little window here as well. It doesn't really matter, but I prefer to do that just because it makes it look a little bit nicer as well. So now what you want to do is, after you've made your little pillar thing here, you want to go 4 blocks over from the side here and go up 3 blocks and go ahead and place some scaffolding blocks, because this is where we're going to be making our little hammer system. So you want to go ahead and place a piston here and then a piston on top of it, and this is what's going to be pushing the hybrid sand and the scatter sand and of course the TNT for the hammer. So what you want to do next is go up to here, and what I'd recommend is just having these as glass blocks, and then we can go ahead and place our scatter or hybrid dispensers. So what I'd go ahead and do is place 5 along here like so, and then after that go ahead and place some temporary blocks here and place your dispensers up along here like so. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and place some blocks on the side as well, and then what we're going to be doing is covering up the rest of this. So place some glass blocks on top of here, so that way we can differentiate between this and the actual hammer TNT, and then we just want to continue bringing all of this along here until we get to where this actually connects. So you can go ahead and destroy these blocks or place blocks around here just so it's completely encased. You can go ahead and make these solid blocks if you want. It really doesn't matter, I just prefer glass so it looks nicer. So now what you want to do is go ahead and place dispensers on top of every single block here. So we'll have 8 on each side and then 1 at this very end here. And then after you've done that, you want to bring all of these 17 dispensers up by 16 blocks, or up to a height of 16 blocks, so 15 from here. So that way you'll have 16 times 17 dispensers, which is 272 dispensers in total. And if you don't know the equation to calculate how much TNT you need to actually sand stack, it is 1.151 times the amount of TNT, or X if you're into math, and plus that by 1 or just round up. So this is more than enough to stack 230 sand. So once you've done that, it should look something like this. So then what you want to do is go ahead and place blocks that go up from the very edge. These can be solid, they can be glass. I'm going to use glass because it looks nicer. And then what you want to do is go ahead and place water along here. However, just for now, I'm going to be covering up this until we make our double compression system. But what you want to do is go ahead and place water on the very top of this like so. So all you want to do for your compression system is to place 3 blocks on either side like so, and then come under here and go all the way to the very edge. So that way we can go ahead and make the compression system. So what you want to do is on this very edge, place 2 dispensers up like so. You can destroy the block under it if you want, it really doesn't matter. Then just place some temporary blocks around the side of it, and then what we're going to be doing is placing a dispenser here that goes up 4 high, so it should look something like this. Then what you want to do is go ahead and either place glass or what you want on this side, and then round the rest of this. However, later on we are going to be replacing some of this with actual redstone. So it should look something like this, and then you can go ahead and just place water along the bottom like so if you are worried. Make sure, however, that there is blocks that go up to the height of this dispenser, because the dispenser could fire the TNT off slightly to the right and of course blow up your cannon, and you do not want that. So now we can actually do some redstone. So the first thing you want to do is come 3 blocks out from the edge and then go over 7 blocks here and place down a block, and then place down your button like so. Then we're going to make just a staircase or a podium and place redstone on top of this like so. Then you want to go ahead and place blocks going all the way along from there, and place 4 redstone repeaters facing this direction, all set to 4 ticks. Then after that we are going to go ahead and place blocks on top of all of these dispensers, and then we are going to go ahead and then connect this up to these dispensers. So this is going to be mirrored on each side, so if we place a little arm like there, we're going to be doing it on this side, and we're going to be placing redstone and then a repeater on each side. So then what we're going to be doing is making a slab staircase. So if you already know how to make that, then skip this little bit. But how we're going to be doing it is we're going to be doing it by placing a main block here, and then we're going to be placing slabs back here like so. So this is the main block because this is what's going to be going in first. But for the majority of it, we're going to be making it out of slabs. So what you want to do is you want to go up like so in slabs. You can go ahead if you have enough slabs to just make every single piece slab. What I mean by that is you can have this as a solid block if you want, but just I'm going to be keeping it as a solid block. But if you are doing this already, then you can have that as slabs just so it saves you time. So what you want to do is you want to go up and like so, and you just want to keep doing that all the way till you get to the top. Then you want to place redstone on each of these blocks here all the way till you get to the top again, and then you just want to go ahead and place the blocks that are in front of it as solid blocks like so. So if we go ahead and keep placing blocks up here, then what you want to go ahead and do is on each of those place a set of repeaters. What I like to do is this one set at a time, so like so. If I go down here, and then of course place redstone repeaters on top like so. This is why I wanted to actually do redstone torches, because not only are they cheaper, they're actually easy to build with. So you just want to go ahead and do this until you get to the very top. So you want to extend this till you get to the very top, and then you want to go ahead and mirror it on the other side. So now once you're done, it should look something like this. Make sure you do the very bottom, but once you get to the top, it should look something like this. You don't have to do these dispensers here because, as you know, when repeaters, they power this block and then they power all the blocks around them. But because redstone is only 15 blocks, can only go 15 blocks, and this is 24 high, we're going to have to actually make a slab staircase and then add another wire in so we can actually reach the very top. So to this we're going to need to go 7 high. So we're going to make a slab staircase like so, and we are going to be going up 7 blocks because that's how many we need to go up. So if we go up like so, because we can use the glass as a reference, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the 7th one here. So if we just take a look at that, then we can go ahead and just bring this along to the side and just bring a repeater, bring it along over there, and then come and bring it over here. So all we need to do is just make this a solid block. Go ahead and grab a repeater, face it into that side as well, make this one a solid block, and then just put redstone on the rest of the blocks and just make it go all the way down, and then you are done that part. So now we're going to be hooking it up from this button to the actual sand compression dispensers or compression system. So what you want to do is place a piece of redstone here, and 3 redstone appears set to 4 tick delay, and then 1 set to 2. It is very important that this one is set to 2 and none of the rest of these. So what you want to do next is go up by 1 block there and another one along here, and go all the way along here until you get to the dispensers, then place a block here and place redstone on top of both of them. So then go ahead and place 1 redstone repeater set to 1 tick delay, and then bring your redstone along round back here. So how this works is this repeater will power this block redstone and this redstone. So if you don't know, redstone, since it's a main piece of redstone, it will power the blocks around it, and then it will power the dispensers above and below because it's powering those blocks. So that's how we can actually reach these very top dispensers, by having this one piece of redstone. So what we want to do now is just connect this up to this main area over here. So we just want a redstone repeater set here, and then we can hook it up to our main circuit here. So I got these 2 things actually done, put put these around the wrong way by accident. So what you want to do is actually have that one facing that way and this one back here. But anyway, now we're going to be connecting this bit up to the actual piece on the outside here. So you just want to go ahead and destroy these 2 blocks. Place redstone there and a repeater set to 2 ticks delay here. And then we want to hook it up to this main dispenser, so a piece of redstone and then a redstone repeater set to 1 tick delay here. So now we're going to be hooking out from this button to this very top piston here. So what we want to do is do yet another upside down staircase, upside down half slab staircase, whatever you want to call it. And you just want to go up by 4 this time, so we get to here, and then go ahead and place redstone on each of these, of course. And then we want to make a 2x3 platform along here like so. Place 2x4, sorry, and then you want to place redstone here and redstone on this side. So then you want to have a comparator facing this way and then another 2 facing this way. A block here with a piece of redstone on top of it and then a redstone torch here. So this is going to be our pulse extender. So for the double piston extender here, all we have to do is place redstone all the way along here. Then you can go ahead and pick a block out of one of these 3. I'm just going to do this one at the very edge here. You want to go ahead and place a block on top of here like so with redstone across. Of course it's going to bud power that piston, so it doesn't matter. Then you want to go ahead and place a repeater set to 1 tick delay above it and then redstone on top of this like so. The moment a block is placed here, it will update it and then it will bud power it. Of course you'll have that once you actually have your sand. And then this one gets bud power because it still updates when you have a solid block or even a transparent block, which is the cobweb. So that's that main part there, and while we're here we might as well do the actual double piston extension for here. So go ahead and place redstone along the bottom. We're going to be doing it for the end one this time. Place redstone here, redstone repeater set to 1 tick delay, and then redstone all the way along here. This one will activate however when this is activated. So now we're just going to be hooking up from here to our double compression. So what you want to do is go ahead and place a block on the end of that redstone with a redstone torch on the end of it. Then go ahead and go under it. You don't need to place a slab, but I'm going to place a redstone repeater set to 4 ticks delay there with a block in front of it and redstone on top. Then you want to go ahead and weave it around here, place redstone that goes all the way along here and then 1 on top of there. Then you want to go ahead and just place 2 slabs along here like so, redstone on top of there, and then 2 redstone repeaters set to 1 tick delay on each of these. So while we are on this side, let's quickly hook this part up to our double pistons here. So what you want to do is place redstone here and then a block along up here and then another one, and then we're going to make a slab staircase. So what you want to do is go, of course, back by 1 here and then back by, then if I could speak right, place another one like so with redstone on top of all of these. And then we want this one to be 4 ticks longer, so go ahead and place a redstone repeater set to 4 ticks delay there, and these should both be extended like so. So I made one huge mistake. I actually built these dispensers 1 too low, so you actually want to raise them up by 1, so sorry about that. But either way, now we're going to be doing the slab staircase for these. So if you don't know how to do this already, you just go ahead and place blocks on the bottom like so. And then you want to go ahead and of course place the ones above it and then place slabs behind them. For this side to do the very edge ones, it is a very simple way to do it. Because we have got our repeater going in the edge here, we can activate redstone on the edge. So we just want to go ahead and bring this all the way up, placing redstone on top of here. And then you just want to do this exact pattern just all the way up. And then except for this bit on the side, you want to do it on the side as well. So once you've done that on both sides, it should look something like this, and make sure that of course you do have all of your redstone and that on the side as well. So now what we're going to be doing is connecting both of them up. So the one over here is extremely easy to connect up. All you do is go down to the one where it's this height, place a piece of redstone here and then a redstone repeater set to 3 ticks delay. Extremely simple. So now what you want to do is go down to the same height as this, grab a slab, and then we are going to start going up in another staircase. It doesn't necessarily have to be a staircase, you can do it with solid blocks if you want, but just to keep it consistent I'm going to be doing it with slabs just because. So what you want to do is you want to keep going up until you get to the point which is highest. The only reason we need to actually do a staircase from way down there is because we need to get exactly 15 blocks. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to get it into this block here. So go ahead and bring it all the way up here like so. and then we can go ahead and take a repeater output from here, set it to free ticks delay. So I actually did that slightly wrong. Actually what you want to do is go one above it, and then go all the way up here, and then you want the redstone to go into a block, then free ticks delay into this system here. This is just so you reach the very top corner like so. I'm sorry I screwed that up. But either way, now we're going to be working on this bottom part here, which will connect the slab bust and to our hybrid scatter. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead down here is you want to go ahead and get a repeater set to free ticks. So to do this, all you want to do is make this a solid block. If you have this, if you have this as the alternative, then it'll just be flat here. But if you don't, like I have, then it will just be solid like so. So what you want to do now is to go ahead and place a block there, a block here, and then ones that go along in this general direction. You want to place a comparator there, redstone repeater here, and place 2 redstone here. Then what we're going to be doing is placing a block here with redstone on top, and then another block here because we've got both dispensers under here. Then we're going to place a repeater and then a piece of redstone here and here and 2 here, and then we're going to make our pulse extender, and then that pulse extender is going to go into a comparator clock. So make sure this back one is in subtraction mode or else it won't work. Then go ahead and place blocks all the way, all like so, and then we're going to bring this round and place it into a 1 tick repeater. Then we're going to be placing a block with redstone on top like so. Then we're going to bring some blocks along here, and then we're going to go down 1 block along here and place blocks all the way along here with 5 repeaters going into all of these dispensers. Then redstone in front of it like so, and redstone on top. Then that's what you have to do for this, and that's probably the most complex wiring bit of all of this. So now what you want to go is to go into this very small area here, grab your pistons, and then place a piston along here like so, and then to power it you're going to place a block here of redstone on top. This just means to activate when all of these do. Then what you want to do is place your red sand going all the way along here, make sure there's a block placed there, and then have the red sand go all the way along here. The next thing you want to do is grab your cobwebs and your sand, because what we're going to be doing is going down here and loading this, because it's it's really easy to load, but you're going to have to do it every time you fire it. So you want to make a 2x5 area of cobwebs like so. Then you want to go ahead and place sand along here like so, 2x5, but then because there's only 10 here, you want to stack 230 sand, so you want to go up by 22 blocks. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So easy way to tell for me is if it's in line with that. But what you want to do now is go ahead and just place a bunch of slabs on the top like so, because this is essentially where it's going to be sky limit, because it'll be 256. And then what we want to go ahead and do is go ahead and place slabs 2 blocks or 3 blocks over here, and then we can go ahead and stack red sand like so. We just want to stack it to sky limit. You don't have to place these blocks on the very top, but it's good for a reference. So if we go ahead and place all our red sand here, except that one, then as we can see we have a nice pile that fits in here and will last us like a decent 20 plus shots. So all we have to want to do now is make this go up as well. So the final thing you want to do is make sure that you have your actual TNT aligner hooked up, and then you are done. So all you want to do now is go ahead and test it by firing it against a wall or something, preferably without TNT to start with, just so nothing goes wrong. And congrats, you've just made yourself an extremely big cannon. So if I've made any mistake in this tutorial, which I don't think I have, then please tell me in the comments below. If you have any problems with your cannon, then please ask me, I will answer them. And if there's anyone else that may know how to fix it, then they maybe will be able to help you, but I will try and answer as many as possible. And also, this video took me forever to make, way longer than I thought, and it's been, I think, 30 plus hours in this so far. So even if you never like a video, if you could just like this one, that would mean the world to me. So anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope to do more bigger cannons soon. But anyway, goodbye from TNT Madness.